Hey everyone, welcome to the Self-Awareness Journey podcast. I'm Melissa Albers.
And I'm JJ Parker. This podcast is for seekers, seekers of happiness and joy, seekers of a centered approach to success in life, seekers of their true, authentic selves.
Get ready for some real talk on everything from anxiety, emotions, and habits to love, compassion, and forgiveness. We know you'll be challenged and enlightened by this conversation. We're so glad you're here. Let's dive in.
As you know, I almost never go to the doctor.
I know. I don't either.
Not because I don't need to ever go to the doctor.
No, you avoid it.
Yeah, mostly, yeah. So,
same.
Like a year ago, I was like, I should really get some sort of doctor situation happening, like a, just like a GP or whatever.
I remember this. Mm-hmm.
And because what happened is I actually wanted to go to the doctor. I called my family doctor, like the doctor that my whole family goes to.
Yep.
And I said, hey, I need an appointment for like a yearly physical. Yep. And they're like, yeah, you're not a patient here. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like my whole family goes there. And they're like, well, yeah, but you haven't been here for 10 years, so we kicked you out.
Was it 10 years?
Yes.
Oh my God. You actually might be worse than me. I didn't think that was actually possible.
So I went on this adventure to find a new doctor,
yes.
Which was like pretty frustrating because first I have this like theory that when I want something, I try to get it from the person that's closest to my house. Like that really works well when you're talking about like landscaping supplies.
I was thinking that. I was going to say a greenhouse.
Like other things. Maybe
or
not
gasoline
the best,
for your car.
Yeah, like maybe not the best approach to life when it comes to your health care.
No, trained professionals.
But, like whatever. So I found like the doctor closest to my house. Well, it turned out it was like such a bad match, right? Like,
yes.
Like my goal is to never go to the doctor. Use like nutrition and exercise to make myself like healthy. Right?
Yeah.
And it's just not the vibe I was getting from this doctor. So anyway, I looked around. I found another doctor who ended up like being a much better fit for me.
Yep.
And one of the things that I was actually trying to run down by finding like a doctor I could go to like more than one time or more than like the minute clinic at Target.
Yeah, which is your normal go-to.
Yeah, was that I was kind of getting this like routine, sort of like almost like a flu, but not quite, and it wouldn't last very long. I just like, I don't know what this is, and I get it like,
I remember that.
I don't know, like 10 times a year. Like every other month I get it. I'm like, what is this? This is super annoying. It just take me out, right? So found a good doc, and they're like, okay, go see this allergy specialist. Because I was like, I don't think I have allergies, but maybe I do. And I was talking to the allergy specialist, and she's like, okay, like when do these like episodes happen? I'm like, I don't know. I can't really correlate it. It's kind of hard. She's like, when do you feel good? I was like, oh, the time I feel the best is when I'm in the boundary waters. So we go on like week-long trips to the boundary waters, right?
Yep, right.
And she's like,
yes.
wait, what? Like you feel the best and you have like no problems when you're out in
amongst all of the things.
Yeah, in all of the pollen and trees and every allergen on this list, that's when you feel the best? I was like, yes, that's when I feel the best. Like I'm not stuffy, I'm like have more energy. That's when I'm the best. And I just thought it was funny that she was shocked that my best feeling was outside.
Yeah. That is great. Don't you feel like, as a general rule, when you go to a doctor, you're just fully anticipating they're going to whip out the script page and like start laying down all this stuff that you should be doing from a medical perspective?
Well,
especially an allergist, like that's what you would expect.
So,
like, okay, out comes all the tests.
Yeah. So, I did the allergy test. Ironically, the thing I'm allergic to is an indoor allergy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
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 So dust mites, right. So like that's what I'm allergic to, and that's like an indoor thing. So my diagnosis of that is go spend more time outside.
Yeah. Well, funny you should say that. I was in a really interesting conversation with one of my clients this week, and she was talking about using speed walking as a health solution, not just physical, but like, you know, how it's such a healthy thing to get out and go for a walk. And she likes to do speed walking.
I have this vision of like speed walking. Like, what is speed walking? It's like angry walking. Like, I'm so mad, I'm going to speed walk.
It's not angry walking. Wait. Maybe in your situation, if you're walking fast because you're so patient, that it means that you're usually angry?
Yeah, maybe. It's just me. The only time I speed walk is if I'm mad.
Which is like next to never.
Taking out some aggression by walking quickly. Some people like punch things. I speed walk.
You speed walk quickly across the Target parking lot.
All right, so speed walking, like
Yeah.
I see people speed walking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, around my neighborhood, I see people like walking all the time.
Yeah.
People are really active, but some people definitely like do this like speed walking technique. It's like not running.
Right.
Because it's probably
easier on your joints.
Yeah.
It's way easier. Yeah, because you're not pounding. You're not jumping when you're moving. You're just walking foot to foot to foot. Well, it's interesting, though, is as she talked, she was talking that her partner was like, oh, my gosh, you do this so fast. I'm having a hard time keeping up. So obviously, like, she's kicking her down, right? Which is kind of awesome. Like, aerobically, it's a great exercise. However, he followed it up with a really cool article that he had found from the World Health Organization, or WHO, as they say, that ties speed walking to a longer life.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so then, so she sent me this article, and I really enjoyed it because it went into, it really wasn't just about walking. That was only a small part of it. The majority of it was about being outside and the relationship with healing yourself by being outside, which is exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I find this fascinating that, like, as humans, we spent, most of humanity outside. It's not till, like, relatively recently where everyone gets to enjoy this, like, inside, air-conditioned environment for
totally
most of their time.
Inauthentic environment that we've created for comfort.
Yeah, right. And it's totally comfortable. Like, I like being in my heated and air-conditioned house.
Yeah.
But, like, what are we losing when we stay in our manufactured boxes for too long?
Well, and not only our manufactured physical boxes, but also our manufactured mental boxes. Because if you look at, like, I'm going to be a little bit of a lightning rod here. If you look at American medicine today, American medicine is not designed for wellness. This is my humble opinion. I think what American medicine is designed for is for events, an accident, an illness requiring a shot or pills or something like that.
Yep.
It is not designed for even long-term illness.
Yeah.
It's not. We've manufactured a lot of things around it that are helping to support people this way. But if you look at, generally speaking, the way medicine has come to has what it is today is in many ways extremely unhelpful. And that's why I found that article so interesting, because they started to talk about other countries, not the U.S., but other countries that are now prescribing things specifically that the U.S. doctors would be like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go commune with a tree if you've got a sore throat. And then when that doesn't work, come back and get some penicillin.
That might be a little extreme.
Okay, fine.
But
might be. I told you I was going to be a little lightning rod, and that was me being toned down. Like, I do have some pretty strong opinions about this, but
Well, I mean, I said that my self-diagnosis was spend more time outside, but it's true. Like, like you sent me the article, right? And it talks about like doctors in Canada are prescribing time in nature for patients. Like, this is your prescription. You have to go do this.
And they're specifically doing it to treat high blood pressure, diabetes, and lung diseases.
Which those are things you wouldn't expect. Maybe you'd think of anxiety or
exactly.
More mental health as a thing. But
yes.
the idea that even being outside treats physical things is really interesting.
Yeah. There was one stat in there. I can't remember if it was Sweden or Finland or something like that, but where they were actually diagnosing as a wellness expectation that people spent 30 minutes a day outside, like as a wellness expectation. Like, you weren't going to get any further in the doctor office until you talked that you were doing that. Like, that's, to me, really interesting.
That is. If I was chatting with Megan, who we had on the pod a few months back.
Oh yeah, the nutritionist.
The nutritionist, yep. And she had sent me a thing from NPR about this 1,000 hours outside challenge.
Oh yeah.
Right. And so I was like, oh, 1,000 hours outside. That's probably pretty easy. And I was like, oh, wait a second. I was trying to do the quick math on it, right? 1,000 divided by 365.
Yeah.
That means. Oh wait, I can't do that math. No public.
Well, that's like 3 hours.
Math. Yeah, it's like 3 hours on.
It's like 3 hours a day.
A day. Right?
Yeah.
And you can do probably 3, 4, 5 hours maybe on the weekend, but doing that consistently through the work week, super hard.
I agree. Are we trading productivity for our own wellness? Like, that's where I go with that.
Yeah.
Like, that challenge is significant. Maybe it's a little too much, right? 1,000 an hour or 1,000 hours a year. Holy cats. Like, cause even if you had a regular non-busy 40-hour a week job, well, that's busy. But, even if you tried to make up for that time on the weekends, you would almost not be able to unless you were sleeping outside too.
Yeah.
But I mean, I like the idea of that. Did she say where that came from?
I don't know where it came from. Like, I looked it up a little bit. There's like 1,000 hours app, and it's like a little bit of, like a movement of people trying to promote that.
I love it though. It makes a lot of sense.
It is funny to me too that like the goal would be to track how many hours outside you are. Yeah, I was joking with her. I'm like, we should make an app for your watch or something that tracks if you're inside or outside.
Oh wait, I gotta add that to JJ's business ideas. Oh my gosh, that
would actually be good, right?
Yes, that's very interesting.
So what for you? Let me ask you. For like, you go on these like fishing expeditions and you spend time at the cabin. Like, how do those outdoor like events or activities like affect you?
Yeah, I also live on an environmental lake, right? So I can walk outside in the backyard and kind of be in nature, which is really a gift. And I'll tell you something, I don't do it enough. I don't do it enough. I get in my own little head and my own little projects and my own little to-do list. And yes, I'm judging myself because it's kind of crazy. Because once I step outside, it is an instant transformation. Like, I feel, even if the weather's not good or the weather's great, just standing outside and watching like at this time of the year, we have the benefit of green, being able to see leaves moving in the breeze, being able to listen to sounds, listen to birds. I have this huge frog that is hiding in my fern on my patio. And the only reason I know that is because when I sit on the couch, I swear that thing is like talking to me on purpose. He's taunting me. He keeps making all these funny little clicky clacky noises. And I love it. I'm like, this is so awesome. It just makes me feel settled. It makes me feel settled. How would you describe it? How do you feel?
Yeah, I don't know. I always feel much better when I'm outside. Like, it's the sunshine or the air. It just it gives me like a lot more energy. I love just spending the whole day outside.
Yeah.
Even in crappy weather. I actually kind of like being outside in crappy weather.
I don't mind it either, actually. Yeah, I don't mind it either. There's a rain that rolled through here the other night, and I just stood in the garage door and just watched it come down. I love that sound and how everything feels just a little edgy.
Yep.
It doesn't feel, quite settled, like something could happen atmospherically.
Yep.
You just do kind of connect to those kinds of things.
Yeah, we should have gone outside and recorded this podcast. Birds and
Exactly.
all things chirping in the
Frogs.
background. So this is funny. 'Cause, just like yesterday, I got a email from not a sponsor. He should be a sponsor. My very favorite outdoor company, REI.
Oh.
And they're doing this like outside in 5 campaign. But here's a crazy stat. Across the country, 1 in 3 of us don't have outside space close to where we live.
1 in 3?
1 in 3. Isn't that funny?
Wow.
And so they're like trying to get 100 million people outside to an outside space within 5 minutes of where they live.
Oh, got
Right,
it.
outside in 5. But again, like these stats are kind of like amazing that that lots of people maybe don't even have access to outdoor space, let alone spend purposeful
Anytime.
time in those outdoor spaces.
Right, exactly right. What I thought was really interesting, as we start talking about too, being outside and sort of the healthy benefits of that, they are calling this kind of movement green prescriptions. And I really like this because they are now widely using green prescriptions in a number of different health factors specifically, not even having to do with mental health. Nothing having to do with mental health. It literally focused specifically on the physical health. Now, we already have talked about and know the benefits. I know a lot of them. We probably don't even recognize the depth of the benefit of mental wellness as it's associated with outside. But to tie it back to the physical like this, to me, is sort of like, it's awe-inspiring. Don't you wonder, what would our economy look like if we did focus more on green prescriptions? What would that do? Like, I think that would create a huge ruckus in the medical industry because that goes against the big things, right?
Yeah.
Okay, everybody, JJ just looked down and I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, oh, Melissa, please don't be a lightning rod. Please don't.
No, it's fine.
Please
I just like the idea that like, what industry definitely wants to change and innovate. It's the healthcare industry.
Oh yeah,
No, there's
forgot.
tons of crazy hippies like you running around with the alternate medicine, angle.
Green prescription tablet. I'm going to start carrying on a green prescription tablet. What kind of license do I need to start prescribing green prescriptions to people? I'm going to do it.
Just a crazy lady license.
In my
don't
coaching.
worry.
That's it. Every coaching session's going to end with, now just a minute. Let's talk about this. We need to write you a script. You get a green prescription. You can't leave this call without it.
Well, I'm totally joking about this idea that some of these methods, like literally like a prescription to just go outside for a little while.
Yeah.
It
right.
sounds so like hippy dippy. Like, is that?
know.
But what's interesting
does.
is there's like actual science and research
Yeah.
occurring
lots.
that actually works. Like the method of just going outside and letting the sun hit you for a while actually works.
Yeah. Well, it is funny too. I was talking with not a coaching client of mine, but an associate of theirs. So it was a colleague, and this person was a CEO, and he was explaining that he had, and it was, what I found fascinating about his story is that he was telling the story in mixed company. It was a big meeting, and there were a bunch of people just like him in this room, and he was telling the story so freely. He was saying how my coach offered that I really needed to go out more and be with nature. And so I took a canoe and I took the canoe out into the middle of a lake, and I fell asleep and got so sunburnt.
What? What a weird story. Okay.
I know, but just a second. Yes, it is, from a surface level, it is really, really strange, right? It's like, okay, dude, you could put, sunscreen is a good idea. But here is a person who did not have a relationship with the outdoors to help him ballast, create a ballast. And here he was, a very analytical person, and he was making fun of himself. It was he was telling the story sort of in a jest. Yeah. But I walked away from that conversation with a totally different feeling. I thought, my goodness, how is it that we have now reached a place finally where in mixed company like this, in an event setting, he's talking about, I'm so stressed out that my coach suggested, and I did take a canoe out to just get outside and float on some water. Yeah. Like, I thought that was fascinating, and he had no embarrassment, or he wasn't telling the story like that was the important part. But to me, that was the most important part. It's like, wow, that is so cool that we are getting to a place where it's becoming more normal to talk about some alternative ways to be outside and just go back to our natural roots that make us feel good.
Yeah. So, like the REI thing that I just mentioned, like accessibility and sort of our daily routine has a lot to do with our ability to even do that, right? Like the story of that guy is he hit like a breaking point and went and did what you kind of describe as like an extreme thing, like go in the middle of a lake by yourself in a canoe. Yeah. But like, how can you incorporate nature into a more daily habit? Wellness because routine. It's like I get up, deal with the kids, get to work, get to work, work in my little sanitized box, right? Get home. The best I can do on any given day is maybe take the dogs for a walk around the block, or whatever. Right? Like even working out in the, even if I work out, just in the gym, if I play tennis, it's usually indoors even. I mean, which is just crazy that, but so much of our lives are constructed around indoors that it's actually kind of challenging to be outside for even 10 minutes.
Yeah, especially in where we live too. The climate is short-term available outside comfortably, but there's a whole bunch of the year where it's really hard to be outside because the weather is not ideal, or that's what you can say to yourself anyway.
Oh, that's the best excuse. That's the best Minnesotan excuse. I love that excuse.
You guys, he's judging me so hard today. Just
well, given that winter's my favorite
I know
season,
it is.
It's like
I know. Whenever you start saying, I want it to snow, I always freak out. No.
You can totally be outside in a wonderful way when it's really cold outside. You just need to dress in the right way.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think that this is sort of a paradigm shift that we need to make. I think that we've been told so many stories about what wellness looks like or, quote, should be, that we have lost our bearings on what is normal and so fulfilling, just naturally, emotionally, and mentally, and spiritually fulfilling, and physically.
Yeah. And not to get too over the top with it, but it's just like sort of like the earth and universe has provided us like an environment.
The perfect environment.
But we've kind of chosen at this point to not use it. Right? Yeah. We've kind of constructed a separate environment within that, like a subset, right?
That's an interesting thought.
And so we're isolating ourselves from a lot of like what the universe actually is.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, like I would rather focus my attention on noticing the subtle changes within the environment around me than focus my attention on the things that I have traditionally or in the past focused on, which was news, updates, analytical experiences, outcomes, results. I think you really lose, like, I feel like it's really easy for me to lose my footing when I spend too much time on that camp, as opposed to just like, for example, there's this really cool walking hill that I like to do. It's a really steep hill. And at the base of the hill on one side is a big pile of trees, really adult trees, huge. And they always have a noise of their own, just this little pocket of trees. And it must just be the topography, you know, because there's this big hill or whatever. But I love, as I'm walking to this hill to start going up this hill, I just stop and I listen to that section of trees because they're always making noises different than others. Always. And to me, that feels like, I feel like I almost win something when I remember to do that. It's like, oh, that feels so good to do that. I love that I'm checking in with this tree group.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And going on a nature walk like that is great. You know, no headphones, just listen to the sights and sounds of the natural environment and notice, right? Like humans are really great at noticing things. Like we're kind of tuned to look at like differences in our environment. And
that's true.
When we're in our like little, you know, man-made boxes here, not a lot changes. Like the color of the wall never changes, right? Like, but when you go on a walk in the evening, like the color of everything changes because it becomes like golden hour and things start looking different. And it's just so fun to be out and notice those things. Yep.
Yeah, it really is. Well,
you gonna do 1,000 hours? You want to do 1,000 hours with me?
I only like to take on hard challenges that I have a high degree that I could win with an okay chance that I would fail. This one feels like it might be. I might need to do a baby step into it first.
Okay, well, 100 hours.
I do 500. I would do 500. I think that would be a very good goal.
Probably just like a better commitment would just be get your butt out. Yeah, get out a couple days a week. That's it. Yeah. Just let the sun hit you. Explore around. There's tons of amazing parks around wherever you live.
Yeah, and you know what? Sometimes even downtown Minneapolis, sitting, watching is so fun outside too. Yep. Like it doesn't have to be just green. It can be all sorts of spots. All right.
Your prescription is to go outside.
Okay. I'll go ahead and write that on my little green script I've pictured making now.
Did you enjoy this episode? Please go to your favorite podcast platform to subscribe, rate, and leave a review so others can discover it as well.
Growing self-awareness is a lifelong journey, and there's always further to go. And it's better when we're all in it together. Please think of someone you know who could benefit from hearing today's conversation and share this episode with them. We can't thank you enough for listening. Until next time, happy exploring, seekers.